Welcome to That's Good Sports Week 11 Power Rankings and Curse episode. I'm Brandon Perna, and after I rank the 10-ish best teams in the NFL, we will spin this very wheel to see whom it curses. After a strong 7 weeks, this guy's losing his power, so I may have to bring in a ringer to help. Power Rankings, That's Good Sports. Hey, please subscribe here and don't forget to check out my newly age-restricted best and worst video from yesterday. But you gotta be 18, cause I guess, yeah. I do have big dick Patreon shoutouts for new patrons. Charlie Plumber, Brandon, my last name means bread and water, Paniagua, Sally Thompson, Vale S, upping to 10, Austin Tekmoto, hello, Tekmoto. Matt Pascal, Troy Staunton, Geezer, and Lucas Carls. Patreon.com/thatsgoodsports or YouTube memberships. November 30th, we'll have our Zoom and YouTube member hangout for all $10 donors. The Miami Dolphins, Seattle Seahawks, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Jacksonville Jaguars are on their bye weeks, which means they are not on today's power ranking. They are buyed off of my list. They are buyed off the list. This is unfortunate because you would have been number 2, Miami. Assuming Tua doesn't get a concussion on the bye week, come back next week and I will give you some much earned respect. Also, we should have a Tua episode dropping here on That's Good Sports tomorrow. Number 10. Screw it, the Titans. One of the few offenses in the NFL more pathetic than the Titans is the Broncos, so congrats on defeating them, Tennessee. You rank 27th in points scored, but are dead last in offensive plays run, total yards, 31st in passing yards, passing attempts, and red zone attempts. But you're still number 1 in red zone percentage, meaning when you actually fucking get there, you score. And that's because you do have Derrick Henry, or if you're playing the Denver Broncos, the unguardable Nick Westbrook-Akini. Mike Vrabel should be considered for Coach of the Year because he's probably doing the most with the least in terms of talent. Number 9, Cowboys. This is who we all believe the Dallas Cowboys are. A pretty good team who will lose close games to other pretty good teams. Dak's 2 picks in the first half were pretty ugly and cost the Cowboys points, but my real issue with Dak and the Cowboys offense in that game was their inability to put the game away and score any points in the fourth quarter. Aaron Rodgers exploited Deron Bland, which is a hilarious last name for a defensive back who gives up a perfect passer rating when targeted. Speaking of Bland, also you guys deserve to fall in the rankings when your head coach shows up to Lambeau wearing a Vince Lombardi overcoat and loses. Those are for winners, Mike.
Just want to say hello.
Number 8, I've got the Giants and Jets. The New York Jersey City Boys, battle of the bald for power here. The Jets are coming off a bye week, and despite beating the Bills right before their bye, I'm not sold on Zach Wilson. You know that. I want to be, and I'm going to give you your due respect, Zachy, if you go into Foxborough and get a win this week. Zach Wilson looked lost the last time these two teams played just a couple weeks ago and threw 3 really bad picks. I do appreciate, though, head coach Robert Saleh's commitment to taking the bruises while a young QB develops. The only young QB to play well and beat New England this season was Justin Fields, so there might be hope. Now the Giants, you got the win you were supposed to get against the Texans. Saquon rushed for $152, which is exactly how you beat the Texans, who give up 5.2 yards per carry to opposing backs and have conceded 1,636 rushing yards on the season. Worst in the league, but defeating the Texans is about as impressive as not getting arrested on your bye week. We expect it. And destiny is in your hands, New York. 5 of your final 7 games are division opponents, plus the Vikings. I am foreseeing a bloodbath in the NFC East for the remainder of the year, and the Giants' defense is actually worse against the run than the Texans, allowing 5.4 yards per pop. Tied dead last in the league with the Chargers, so that's your weakness, New York. Number 7, the Bills! Oh, Billy! How Buffalo has fallen. Just time for a reset, Buffalo. Blow into the game cartridge. Steal your brother's Xbox, because you got the red ring of death the last 2 weeks. Now, you don't need to switch consoles or anything crazy like that. You simply have to wait for Josh Allen to get all of the interceptions out of his system. He's like a recovering sex addict, all right? He's got this thing under control for roughly 49 out of the 52 weeks in a year. But there's gonna be a 3-week stretch where he has to release his seed in as many vestibules as possible. Now, he's not regressing, okay? Like some pundits desperately want you to believe. He's just in his I solicited sex next to a dumpster phase of the year, and he'll get out of it. Now, Buffalo's defense, despite giving up 33 to the Vikings, has allowed the second fewest points this season at 151, trailing only, that's right, my godforsaken Broncos. Buffalo's 17 forced turnovers on the season by the defense is getting countered by Josh Allen's picks. Yes, he leads the league in interceptions, but their 18 total offensive turnovers are tied with Indianapolis for second most. Number 6, 49ers. Somebody from the NFC West had to get in, and you're on a 2-game win streak, San Francisco. For whatever reason, the Chargers, with nobody on offense, put up a fight against you Sunday night. That said, your defense took away their one weapon, Austin Eckler, and you guys went on to play Jimmy G ball successfully. I expect to see the 49ers offense win the NFC West and start scoring points at will like we witnessed them do against the Rams. And I cannot wait for Jimmy to catch fire in the second half so we can get another year of him replacing Trey Lance. Now, Elijah Mitchell is back in the lineup, and he was your best running back against the Chargers. If the 49ers don't finish this season top 3 in scoring with the most insane 3-headed monster we have ever seen in a single backfield with Mitchell, McCaffrey, and yes, Deebo Samuel, who had 4 carries Sunday, it will be the biggest setback to running backs since the invention of the forward pass. If Kyle Shanahan can't scheme open easy targets for Jimmy G with those monsters behind him and guys like Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, and Deebo Samuel in front, he should be fired and forced to coach in Denver next season. Might as well, we already have your first-round draft pick. Number 5 stays the same, Jeff Saturday. Jeff Saturday, firmly planted at number 5. Jeff Saturday, undefeated on Sunday. Number 4, I've got the Bengals and the Ravens. This is a true coin toss. You're the same team to me, even though your teams couldn't be any different. Both Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow have displayed MVP caliber games this season, and both have been flat out underwhelming at times. Regardless, Cincy and Balti averaged the 4th and 6th most points per game, Balti at 26.1, Cincy at 25.3. The Bengals do it through the air, the Ravens on the ground. The Bengals have the 6th fewest rushing yards per game at 98.8, which is nearly the perfect body temperature, but a fever in the NFL to make you sick. And guess who has the 6th worst passing offense in yards per game? Ding, 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 it's the Ravens. The Bengals have a back they don't use enough, and the Ravens have 20 backs they can't use enough. The Ravens won the first matchup between these two teams, and these two teams play Week 18, final game of the season. I believe that game will determine the division winner. Whichever team finds a bit more balance in the air to rush attack on offense in the second half of the season will win that game. The Bengals have their man to do it in Joe Mixon, and the Ravens will find balance in their checkbooks when Lamar gets a well-deserved second contract. Number 3, Eagles falling from 1. It's okay, Philly. Losing after 8 straight wins is actually normal. It's healthy. You got caught in Heinicke mania. And you got caught in the deadliest weapon to combat an elite rushing offense, time of possession. The Washington Comadre football Stallings actually lead the NFL in time of possession. Basically, they lull you to sleep. Brian Robinson had 86 yards and a TD. If bullets can't stop that man, I don't know how a fucking defense will. The number one reason you lost, Philly, were your dumb turnovers. It's been the one thing you have dominated statistically, consistently all season long. Your 4 turnovers against the ex-Snyders were more than your season total. Philly had just 3 turnovers heading into this game. Jalen Hurts threw a pick, and they fumbled 3 times and lost all 3. None more costly than Quez Watkins' fumble late. Eagles don't have feet. They have talons, and Philly still managed to shoot themselves in said talons. That's an outlier type game, and CJ Gardner-Johnson did manage another pick and now leads the league with 6. Philly still has forced the most turnovers, so I expect them to use this loss to get better. Number 2, I've got the Chiefs. Still at 2, huh, Kansas City? Sad. Instead of talking about the Chiefs, the dumb Chiefs, I will power rank Taylor Heinicke's kneel down as number 2 in terms of sheer power. That's some next level QB IQ, Taylor, and I do not believe for 1 second that if Philly got the ball back after that, they would have won. But this call for roughing is not in the best interest of the rule. The NFL banned Colin Kaepernick because they didn't like the way he took a knee. And as much as I love Taylor, time to ban him too. This is a soft-ass call by a soft-ass official in a soft-ass game. The problem though, it's none of those things. Instead, it's my expectation as a fan. I expect football to be a tough physical game where hitting is allowed. And it's not. So I need to change because this type of play will only get worse and worse until the NFL starts flagging defenders for just thinking about hitting quarterbacks. Like a shitty reboot of Minority Report. And I think defenders should be allowed to touch a kneeling QB in this kind of situation. And if you think that's a hard hit on Heinicke, you must love NBA basketball and all of its flopping. And by the way, Taylor Heinicke is the play is never dead type of quarterback. That's why people love him. So this is kind of a shocker for the defense. I was surprised when he took the knee. If the QB, who was so viciously hit, jumps up to celebrate after he sees a flag thrown, then put the flag back in your pocket. Better yet, let's make it illegal for a quarterback to give himself up. Motherfucker wants to run around, outside, behind, to the side of the pocket, then he's a running back until he's back in the pocket or on IR. Number 1, Minnesota Vikings. Holy hell, Minnesota, you digs it, did it. The number 1 reason you are number 1 is because the Eagles lost. And because of my hate for the Chiefs. And because you beat the Bills. So all 3 of those reasons are the sole reason you're number 1. The only team to have forced more than your 18 turnovers this season is the Eagles. You and Philly average 1.6 passing touchdowns per game, and if you can get one big run from Kirk's shirtless Cousins every week, maybe you can catch up to their 1.9 rushing TDs per game. They're number 1. First best. In Minnesota, you're actually 3rd best with 1.3. This roster is so good that it managed to carry Kirk Cousins to a win in a marquee game against an elite opponent. You do that a couple times in the playoffs and suddenly you're right in the Super Bowl. It does feel like we might see an Eagles-Vikings championship game rematch from the 2017-18 season. Or maybe we get Kirk Cousins versus Jimmy Garoppolo in the ultimate game manager battle. And now, something special for the curse. Ladies and gentlemen, I've brought in the toddler to spin the curse wheel. Carmi, give this guy a big spin. Or give it a big spin. There we go. Official spin right here. Who are we cursing? Oh, that's my girl. You just cursed the Chiefs. You just cursed the Chiefs, my angel. Wait, can you say let's ride?
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
All right, I love you.
Hell yeah, I love you.
All right, Kansas City, you're really going down this time. Oh, you're going down. Or the NFL's going to change the roughing rule. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports Power Rankings Week 11 episode. Please subscribe here and check out another video on the screen.
Hallelujah, I love you.